It is something that really, really happens. It's a super, super easy mistake to rectify, and it's really, really simple to be able to change it and fix it, but it doesn't happen that often. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Conscious Counsel podcast with your host, Cory Sterling. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm so happy that you've joined. As always, the promise of the Conscious Counsel podcast is to share light and fun information to help you protect and grow your wellness business with both confidence and clarity. That's what I want for you. And each episode, I have a look at some of the things popping in my inbox or situations that I have to help clients resolve. And I think, this would be something cool that I could talk about on my podcast this week. So this week, I want to talk about the importance of having people re-sign agreements, specifically membership agreements. So the law firm that I started 9 years ago, Conscious Counsel, a lot of our clients operate in the health and wellness space. So there will be Pilates studios or yoga studios, or they'll run retreats, or there'll be health coaches. And oftentimes what happens is they will update the terms of their working relationship with their clients, and they'll change their membership agreements. So we used to charge $108. Now we charge $128. It used to be unlimited. Now it's 4 classes a week. Whatever it is, in any variation of how things change, I have clients who are constantly changing what it is that they have in their agreements. And it's really, really, really important to understand that every time the relationship changes legally, you need your clients to re-sign an agreement that states the new terms of the relationships. And I have a story that I went through with one of my existing clients that is the basis for this week's episode, where they did not do that and they ran into some trouble. So the basic legal premise as it relates to agreements in a very, very simple sense is we get people to sign contracts. Awesome. Cool. We have an agreement. You sign the agreement. You sign the contract. Now, the next thing that happens is something will change within the agreement. So it used to be $108. Now it's $138, whatever it is, just as an example. Now, that's cool that you've done that, but you need the agreement to reflect the new relationship that you have with the clients. So if it used to be 108 and now it's 138, or it used to be unlimited and now it's 4 times a week, you can make whatever changes it is that you want. You're always welcome to make those changes. But the big thing to remember is that you need a new signed agreement in order to reflect those changes. And one of the most common things that I will hear from my clients are, I want the terms of my new membership agreement to apply, but I don't want to have to ask everyone to sign the agreement again. Hands up if that resonates with you. It's very, very, very common. For some reason, I see all of my clients have this sort of aversion towards asking people to sign new agreements. And I don't really know what it is. I think people are just afraid that someone's going to say no. But in all of my experience of having done this for so long, people usually don't care. The question is, how easy can you make for them? Hey, our studio has new terms. Click here to agree to be bound to them. Awesome. And there you go. And that's how it works. So the situation that I went through this week had to do with one of my clients updating their membership agreement. So they changed all of these terms that were part of the agreement itself. And they actually never got anyone to agree to or sign or reaffirm their participation in the legal relationship with these new terms that came up. And so, okay, they make these changes maybe 6 months ago, I think it was. Everything's going along. There's no problem. There's no issue. Everyone's paying. We're doing this. And then, voila, as always happens, some form of problem arises. And when the problem arises, the first email they send out is to me, and they say, hey, Cory, there's a situation that's happened at the studio with one of our clients. I'd like to enforce the terms of the membership agreement. Can you help with this? And now I'm so curious how well you're going to do with this question, because this is the question that on any webinar I've ever given or any podcast that I've ever recorded, a lawyer is always going to have the same response when an issue or a problem comes up. And the first question that I asked my client was, or the first request that I made was, hey, I'm really sorry to hear that you are going through this issue. Please send me a copy of the latest signed membership agreement with this client. So I didn't say anything else. I just said the last time the person signed the contract, please send me that version. And I didn't say, what changes have you made and what have you done and what does it look like and how are things different? Because that doesn't really matter, not nearly as much as having the signed contract. A signed contract is parties agreeing to terms under particular conditions and having that promise be legally binding. So now the problem, as you can imagine, I get an email from the client. Hey, Cory, thanks so much for this. We actually haven't had our members sign the latest version of our contract, so I'm sending you the old version of the contract that we have. Okay, now I start looking at this contract, and it was not drafted by Conscious Counsel, and it's frankly not very good. And worst of all, it doesn't help protect the client in this particular situation of what they were looking to have done. And so I had to go back to my client and say, hey, I understand this is the problem. I understand the solution that you want is as follows. However, based on the last signed contract that you have, these are the legal rights of each party. And in this case, the member or the studio's client was legally correct because the last contract they had outlined the responsibilities and the commitments and everything like that. And it wasn't up to date. And it's a really, really unfortunate situation to go through because now my client has to pay me to help resolve it. They're going to they're losing and they're not going to be able to get the outcome that they wanted. And it was also just so easily preventable. It's just so easily preventable because all you have to do is have the latest version of the contract signed. So I decided to record this podcast this week and just to share with everyone and share this real story that really happened, that anytime you update, whether it's with your contractors, whether it's employees, whether you're changing the services you offer for your waiver, whether it's with the membership agreement, whatever it is, anytime you make a change to the legal relationship that you have with the people that you're working with, you need to have it be executed and signed again. And for some reason, I don't know why there's an aversion towards this. And I also don't know why clients don't get people to sign. But it is something that really, really happens. It's a super, super easy mistake to rectify. And it's really, really simple to be able to change it and fix it. But it doesn't happen that often. And so for me, I just share this information just to use my platform to say, when you change the relationship with your clients or with your staff or with whoever it is, make sure that it is signed and evidenced again, and that there's a new signed version of it, because whoever your lawyer is, when and if a problem arises, the first question they're going to ask you is, can you please send me the last signed version of an agreement with this person? And it's really, really important. And it's really simple. So again, just a summary for this week's episode. The intention of this week's episode is just to remind everyone that when you change the terms of a working relationship, a contract needs to be re-signed. And the reason why is because when and if a legal issue arises, the first question is going to be, okay, what did the parties agree to? What executed signed agreement do we have where people are forfeiting or committing to certain legal rights or decisions? And that's going to be the reference point for everything that follows to resolve the issue. And so worst of all is when we don't have anything signed. Second worst is when we have an old version of the old relationship signed. And the best version is we've made this change, even though it's really, really small, we're still going to sign a new agreement and have you sign it and have you bound to those terms. And the story that I shared this week is one of my clients who operates a studio who had an issue with one of their members that they wanted a specific outcome from as it relates to the situation. And when the problem arose, I asked them for a copy of the signed agreement. They only had an old version of the signed agreement. They didn't have the new version of the signed agreement. And as a result, I wasn't able to help them. And now they have to invest more funds and money and time and stress in order to figure that out. So I hope that the information makes sense. I hope this lands. And I hope that whatever it is that you're doing, you are making sure that anytime you change your working relationship with anyone, that you have a signed agreement to evidence that. I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. Remember, at any time you can follow us on Instagram at Conscious Counsel. Just say, hey, what's up? And we'll be super happy to connect and share free resources that we have. And whatever it is that you do in your life, please, please, please make sure you work with a lawyer who loves you. It's so important to protect your business. And All I want is for your dreams to come true. Have a wonderful week.